Hello, everyone. A very good afternoon. Thank you for joining us on this Friday afternoon in this Ask Me Anything live session on YouTube. I am your host, Shivendra Singh. I have co-recruitment experience of close to 5 years, of which past 1.5 years have been with SAP. And prior to that, I have been a software engineer myself. Today, we take time to answer your queries on building your profile, interviewing tips, jobs, and career at SAP. I encourage you all to post your questions in chat, and we will try and answer as many as time permits. To answer your queries, I have with me two SAP veterans from recruitment. I have with me Charu Chandra. Charu has been with SAP for the past 9+ years and leads talent attraction for customer success organization in India. I also have Manimoy Biswas with me. Mani is responsible for leading the technology talent attraction team in India and has been working with SAP from the last 10 years. On that note, without further delays, let's jump straight into answering your queries. We will start with some of the queries and questions that have already come through to us. Now we know that we have been into lockdown starting mid of March this year, and I'm sure this question has been on every candidate's mind. How will the job market look like? Will there be jobs? Will there be hiring? And to that effect, the one constant query that has come through is whether SAP is hiring or not. So is SAP hiring? What are the best ways to get to know about SAP openings? Charu, can you answer that?
Thank you, Shavin, and a very good afternoon to everyone. To answer Shavin's question, yes, we are hiring. In fact, all the current open positions are listed on our career page, and anyone can actually go and have a look at that. You can possibly look at sap.com/careers, and you will find all the current open positions listed. And to further be updated about new positions, you can create an email alert and subscribe to our career page, wherein new positions are updated regularly. Today, we will talk about the hiring topics and the best practices, but again, reiterating, yes, we are hiring. Thank you, Shivin.
Thank you, Charu, for answering that. Email notifications definitely help. It's something I did too when I applied for SAP. It was through a notification that I got through this current position at SAP. Now, the next big question on each of our minds is how SAP is managing its hiring and onboarding virtually. We haven't stopped hiring for sure, even in lockdown, and I'm sure we have optimized our process to adapt to virtual settings. Mani, would you like to elaborate on this? How is SAP managing its hiring and onboarding during COVID?
Sure, Shivan. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our first AMA session. To answer your question, probably yes, SAP has been managing the entire hiring scenario in this virtual mode, maybe I would say mid-March onwards, from the time lockdown has started, and it has almost become a norm for us. Let me give the response probably in two halves. First, let me tell you that what are the initiatives, what we have done from a hiring standpoint, and from an onboarding standpoint, what we have done. From hiring perspective, the entire format of interviews, we have got into a completely virtual mode to enable us in terms of how do we do a video interview and other things, right? To give you some more details, probably we have launched a new framework, best tech interview framework. What does it mean typically is we are telling for all technology roles, we will have 4 out of interviews. We will try to complete the entire interview process within 3 working days. The whole idea behind that is to ensure the best candidate experience, right? That is our priority, even in virtual mode as well, right?
Right.
Obviously, it depends on candidate availability, panel availability, and other things. Yeah, but this is the framework. We have a similar framework which we are working right now for the customer-facing roles as well. So yeah, that's from a hiring standpoint what we have done, a little bit of changes there. From an onboarding standpoint, what we have done is, yes, we have a robust onboarding process which is already there. Like for example, we have a pre-start portal for all new joiners. They get all their basic details in the pre-start portal. So any new hire can go there, log in, and then find out all the basic details for their day one, for their onboarding and other things. In addition to that, what we are doing is we are ensuring that every new joinee, if they are supposed to join on a Monday, the previous weekend they are getting their equipments. Our IT team is calling up them and then setting up the equipments for them so that they are ready for day one. We have every Wednesday, we have the proper onboarding session where all the teams give them a detailed description in terms of what they need for each of the employees to be successful gradually and go forward in SAP. On the other side is from a hiring manager standpoint, all the hiring manager gets all the relevant communication in terms of from an onboarding standpoint, what are the communications in terms of equipments, or a hiring manager can assign a buddy for the new hire. What the buddy is supposed to do is ensure that the new hire has all the required things for him to start in a virtual mode as well, right? So yeah, these are the few things which we are doing in virtual mode, keeping the core experience in mind and to ensure that the employee is having a great experience once he is joining SAP.
Thank you, Mani, for answering that in detail. As Mani elaborated, there's a lot of work that goes on in the background to give you that wonderful experience, and I can vouch by the changes that we have made to our overall hiring process. With Best Tech interviews, we obviously are in the right direction with respect to giving world-class experience to our candidates and hiring owners alike. No more than 4 interviews definitely is a delight for candidates who can complete the process with us with just 4 interviews. Our excellent NPS results are again testimony to how we have done exceptionally even during lockdown and COVID. Moving on to the next question, the question is to you, Charu. What are some of the key attributes or key hiring criteria that SAP looks for in a candidate? Can you elaborate on what behaviors and competencies make SAP run?
Thank you, Shivain, and that's a great question. So SAP is a very diverse organization, and hiring the best fit for SAP for the current and future potential is definitely of paramount importance. So at SAP, there are different online tests that we use, which helps us in adopting a compliant and consistent approach for evaluating candidates' technical skills. And these could be basic skills to the advanced coding skills or software testing skills, or the list goes on. And they basically help us to identify candidates' strengths and weaknesses. Having said that, apart from the required relevant experience, required qualifications, as per the job descriptions, SAP also focuses on certain soft skills and run behaviors that we look at. The first and foremost, definitely good communication skills and presentation skills. How does a person work in a complex and a matrix environment? Ability to work under pressure. Proactive and conflict resolution skills, willingness to learn, and having a growth mindset, to name a few. Apart from that, the other run behaviors is that the person collaborates and builds bridges, not silos. He stays curious. Then, of course, team player with a strong customer focus. So there is an amalgamation of both technical and relevant skills, as well as soft skills, which are required to perform the job.
And that's how we run at SAP. Thank you, Charu, for taking that up. To everyone who's joined us today, if you want to further refer these behaviors and competencies, you can go and refer them at sap.com. They are available and described well on our portal. It would be a good idea for you to know and understand the core behaviors that make SAP run. Now, looking at the chat, there's one question that we have kind of already covered the answer on. So the question goes, how can we apply for internship fresher role if SAP doesn't visit our campus? So I believe Charu and Mani already took it up briefly, saying that some of these roles are already available on our career portal. We would advise to visit our career portal and set up alerts for your reference for relevant roles that you see best for you to be able to do internships in. For my next question, I will go back to Mani now. Mani, as recruiters, we screen hundreds of resumes on a daily basis. It's like our bread and butter. With your enormous experience, what do you feel are some tips that we can give to our candidates to improve on their CV, or basically what makes a CV tick all the boxes for SAP?
Sure. Thank you, Shivain. Okay. I think this is extremely important for any candidate, whether somebody is applying in SAP or outside of SAP, right? Here are my few suggestions for a candidate whenever they're applying, right? First thing is, it has to be a very well-structured CV, resume. What I mean by that is, ensure that it covers all your relevant projects. What are the projects you want to highlight, right? Sometimes it tends to become, SEV tend to become very lengthy. It is, you should keep your resume very short, keep it within 1 or 2 pages, or maybe 2-3 pages max, and it should highlight a very well-structured format and all the relevant experience or relevant projects and other things what you want to highlight. Remember, only one thing is quality over quantity takes over, right? Focus on the quality aspect of it. That's what I would recommend.
Thanks, Mani, for taking that up.
What Mani said,
sure, Charu,
adding
please.
to what Mani said,
Yeah.
I mean, instead of being a little verbose on the CV, it is good to possibly keep it short, have clear details on your projects and, on your responsibilities, and highlight the achievement. That really speaks all about rather than being verbose.
Thanks, Charu, for adding on to that, and thanks, Mani, for answering that. And it is going by experience that I speak myself. If there is one thing that a recruiter or a hiring manager doesn't like, is having to fish out information from your CV, or just find out that the information is missing altogether or is maybe ambiguous. A resume that gives all the basic information, for example, your experience, your current organization, about your education, and your overall experience in a well-structured manner, goes a long way in getting you screened and shortlisted quickly. I will again move back to a question that has come up on chat. Mani, maybe you can take this. There's somebody who has mentioned, I'm an ex-SAP. Due to personal reasons, I had to leave in April of 2020. Is there a possibility to return to SAP?
Sure. Thank you, Shivan. Yes. To answer, yes. I mean, we have a rehiring program, and we definitely appreciate any employees, any of our alumni, to come back to SAP, right? So yes, to answer it in simple words, yes, you are welcome back to SAP. Yes, you will obviously have to go through the entire interview process, what we have defined internally. But yes, if you have taken a sabbatical break and other things, you can come back. You have to apply again through our career page. You have to apply for the relevant roles, go through the interview process, and then come back to SAP.
Thanks, Mani. Now, for my next question, again, I'll come back to you, Mani. When you explained our hiring process, you mentioned we are doing all interviews on video now. Now, it's an entirely different experience for candidates when it is compared to face-to-face interviews. Can you tell us or give us some tips? What are some of those best ways to prepare for a video interview?
Good one, Shivan. Yeah, I mean, again, for any candidates, yes, this is a different scenario. All of us are trying to get used to this new normal, right?
Yeah.
And trying to become an expert. How do you take video interview from a panel standpoint or from a candidate standpoint, right? Yeah. So some of the basics, what I can recommend again for every candidate whenever you are attending a video interview is this, probably. First thing, do a pure tech check for yourself. What do we mean by tech check is this. Find out the location where you are taking the discussion. Talk to your family members, just ask them that not to use any other device, play any games or watch Netflix or anything as such, so that you get the best network, the best bandwidth when you are having the discussion, right? Just that it's not, you don't want any interpretation, I mean, interruption, right? That moment probably when you are having the discussion.
Sure.
Second part, probably what I would say is, as a candidate, prepare as if you are preparing yourself for a face-to-face interview. What typically a candidate should do, right? For a face-to-face interview, you typically find out more details about the organization, try to find out more details about the panel, who are those people, what is the JD, what is my career growth looking like, getting to more details of it. Some basic details also, probably have a good virtual professional background when you're facing the interviewer, probably, right? The last thing, what I would recommend is, think about, even though you have been proactive, prepared about all aspects, things might go wrong in today's world, right? There might be some network issues. You have genuine issues around it. Think about whom can you reach out immediately and inform them this is the problem you're facing, and ask them that, can you reschedule my interview on a later date? Yeah, these are a few basic tips which I can suggest anyone.
Thanks, Mani, for those quick tips. And I would just like to add there, for example, the invites that go from SAP to any candidates for their interviews. We mentioned some of these resources as to how to reach out to somebody in case you are dropped from that video interaction, or if you are facing any technical problem, you have those details available in the invite itself, wherein you can contact somebody there and then. There are other resources also, for example, about SAP, wherein you can just go and read more about that particular role as well as about SAP. So yeah, our invites take care of most part of it. And it happens a lot of time that you do not have a good connection available. In those cases, it's always best to decline the interview and request for a reschedule, maybe on a day or a time when you expect the connection to be better. Or you may even move out for that duration to your friend's place or a relative's place. As an organization, we are very open to let you decline and arrange for an alternate interview time. All right, I'll go back to, again, a question that has come up on the chat. This now relates to a previous question that we covered about the CV pointers, right? And how can candidates prepare better? So Charu, probably you can take this. What do candidates often miss out on while preparing for interviews? Can you give us some directions there?
Thank you, Shiven. In fact, again, a great question. My colleague Mani already covered in his answer as well that, how do we prepare for the interviews? At times, what happens is a candidate does not do a research on the role or the organization. So that is one of the key things that any candidate should keep in mind while preparing for the interview. Whenever you get a call from SAP or be it any other organization, do a proper research on the role. If you have any queries, please get in touch with the recruiter, get the answers for those questions, and try and get maximum information about the team, about the organization, about what is currently happening, what are the new trends within SAP. I think all of those definitely help in building a concise and a brief information platform for you. Ask questions. That is another question. If you have certain queries which are definitely not answered by the recruiter at the point of screening, during interviews, definitely make a point that you ask questions on those and get the answers. The more you be a little proactive, it actually works in your favor.
Thank you, Charu, for summing it up. My 2 cents here are that it's not just an interview; it's a discussion, right? And that is where the point that you need to ask some questions yourselves too comes into picture. It's a discussion. It's questioning each other and understanding the best fit. That is what our aim is during our discussions. I will again move back to a question that has come up on the chat. Mani, probably you can take this up. So we had a question about rehire. Now we have a question from somebody who has been an ex-C user with us. So the question is, what is the procedure for ex-C users to get in SAP Labs?
Okay, thank you, Shiven. Okay, I would say that any C users or any ex-SAP employees, the hiring process almost remains same, right? Except that if we have any partner agreements or anything as such. But otherwise, as long as you have the relevant experience, which is required for a particular role, please go ahead and apply in our career site. One thing which I would seriously recommend is that apply for the relevant roles, which is aligned to your career aspiration, which is relevant to your background, past experience, and other things. And then once you apply for that, we'll reach out to you, talk to you, and then understand the previous background, and then go ahead with the normal interview process.
Thank you, Mani, for taking that up. Now, moving on, among all the good reasons that SAP is known for in the market, one of the biggest reasons is that we are a well-known equal opportunity employer. Inclusiveness is in our DNA and in our core values. With that said, my question to you, Charu, is what are some of the best practices being followed by SAP for diversity and inclusion hiring?
Thank you, Shiven. I believe in current scenarios, diversity and inclusion is one of the biggest factor for any organization, and it's for SAP as well. So at SAP, we actually provide employees with an environment where uniqueness is valued and
Right.
expectations for growth and development are transparent. So the focus for us is that at every stage of an employee journey, we are inclusive so that we attract better, we retain better, and we motivate. And for us at SAP, diversity and inclusion is a three-pillared structure wherein we pay equal importance to gender, millennial, and inclusion. And all the hirings that are happening at SAP are centered around this. So for example, for early talent is at the core of SAP, and we go to different colleges and institutes to hire early talent and millennial, which get inducted into the system.
Right.
We run specific programs and focused hiring events for gender and inclusive people, especially abled as well. We have various skill development programs, sponsorships, learning opportunities, which help talent to prepare for their next level. To name a few, for example, I lead Confluence, speed mentoring for early talents, as well as gender diversity. We all have it all. There are a lot of benefits and policies which takes care of employee as well. So the vision for SAP is to be the most inclusive company on the planet.
Indeed, Charu, thank you for elaborating on our initiatives and how we gear up for inclusion at SAP. Our focus areas right now are inclusive career journeys, inclusive culture, and having a diverse ecosystem. This year, we also celebrated the 50th anniversary of Pride in the month of March, where our leaders Sindhu Gangadharan, our MD, and Shraddhanjali Rao, our VP HR, spoke extensively about inclusiveness and pride at SAP. For my next question, I will move again to something that came on the chat. Mani, probably you can take this. There is someone who asks, I am having 4 years of experience in ABAP. Can you please guide me what more I have to learn, keeping an eye on future and joining SAP?
Thank you, Shivan. Yes. Okay. For anyone probably who has 3 to 4 years of ABAP experience, I would say that try to develop your knowledge probably in object-oriented programming language, ABAP object-oriented programming, or maybe WebDen Pro, or maybe something specifically on S/4HANA and other things, right? There are a good number of open roles which we are hiring right now. You can, like Charu has mentioned already, in our career side, you can see all the external roles which are open right now. So I would recommend that, yes, as once you can ramp up yourself on those lines, look at the relevant roles and apply for suitable roles accordingly.
Thank you, Mani. That's pretty simple to follow and do for yourself. So with that, I'll move on to the next question. Now, all this while, we have been talking about how one can get opportunities with SAP. Mani, my next question again will be to you. Once someone gets a foot through the door to SAP, what are some of the growth opportunities for one's career within SAP?
Sure. Thank you, Shivan. Okay. One thing which I feel that we are extremely proud as an organization and we put utmost focus is about career development opportunities for our employees, right? It is extremely important and we try to measure it in terms of every quarter, how is the progress? To give you some more detailed example probably, right? Every employee has to have a career development plan. They should discuss with their reporting manager. They should align on their development goal, and they should have a clear development activities which they can measure every quarter when they have their PRM discussion or SAP doc discussion, right? The whole idea is that to review how you are progressing as an employee in those activities in your development plan. To add to that, a couple of other parts probably which I can highlight is an employee also can apply for internal transfer roles, right? So every employee also, like sometime back, Charu again has highlighted that you can create job alerts. So similarly, an internal employee also can create a job alert in their internal career page. Look at the relevant roles based on their skills and competencies. What is the career aspirations? If I'm a developer, I want to get into a product management career path. What kind of roles are available and other things? And apply for those suitable roles based on your development plan. The other part which I would like to highlight is that we have a robust platform for fellowships. We have Talent Marketplace where all the fellowship opportunities are there. Every employee, again, they can, based on their career development plan, they can apply for those suitable roles, fellowship opportunities, and align with their manager, and then go ahead with those fellowship opportunities. Last one, probably, which I would like to end is we have a certified mentor and coaches who can guide the employees again as part of the career development discussions, right? The employee can discuss with the manager and find out a certified mentor or coach for themselves who can navigate and help them for them to be successful in their career.
Thank you, Mani, for talking about various opportunities and avenues we have available internally. The opportunities truly are limitless, with international opportunities, all roles being open to internal as well as external candidates, short-term fellowships, professionally certified coaches and mentors available. I personally feel, it's very important, and one should be aware of their strength, and that is something that will help you decide how and where you want to grow.
And Shivan, I just want to add a point there. I think at SAP, we believe in a person driving his or her career path rather than being pushed by the manager. So I think it is up to the employee to how does the person navigate through their career charts, and the opportunities are endless.
Thank you, Charu, for adding up to that. Now, speaking of building on our strengths, Charu, can you help our audience understand if it is helpful to do certifications, courses, and where to do these from? And I will just add up a few questions on similar lines that have come up on the chat also. For example, there is somebody who says, I am a certified senior SAP HCM consultant. Is it mandatory to get certified in SF? That's one that came up. There is another that says, how many years of experience is needed to get into SAP FICO if candidate is certified? So all these relate to probably certifications. So probably you can add your observations along with these questions.
Sure, Shivan. So courses or certifications definitely add value to anybody's profile. They definitely give you an edge. But these are dependent upon the roles that we hire. So for example, for a developer, a Java certification would really help, because that really helps you understand the expertise of your role on Java coding. For a FICO certification, yes, that could be really helpful, but it also depends upon the kind of experience that a person has on what modules. And referring to the question in FICO, so the kind of modules the person has worked upon, or possibly the kind of implementations the person has done, the live implementations. All these will actually add on to the experience. PMP certification or ITL certification can definitely add value to the project manager roles. Azure certification, again, dependent upon the role. So it is not mandatory unless specified in the role, but definitely it adds value.
Thanks, Charu. Certifications do help add weight to your CV and are a great way to learn new things. Charu, I will again come back to you for my next questions. I am sure we have a lot of early talent, or what we term as graduate audience, joining us today. And we know that SAP has a great focus on graduate hiring, or early talent hiring as we term it. Can you tell us the different ways that SAP hires campus graduates and interns? And along the same lines, there is another question on the chat which says, how many years of experience is needed to get into or what kind of preparation to do to get into graduate roles with SAP?
Thank you, Shivan. I think SAP is known for the early talent hiring in the market. We have a highly robust structure and program for early talent hiring and internship programs. And just to give you a 10 ballpark figure, we approximately hire 500 to 600 early talent from different colleges in India. The early talent team goes to different colleges, and the season starts from somewhere mid-July, August, goes on till October, December, wherein the early talent hiring is aimed at doing different assessments. There are online assessments tests. There are different interviews which evaluate the candidates, And then post all these processes, the candidate is selected, and the candidate is then inducted into the system basis the availability for joining. There are internship programs as well in SAP, which we encourage. We go to the same colleges wherein we hire interns from. These are usually 2 to 3 months of internship that we focus on, and they are basis the opportunities available within the organization. So to sum it up, I think we do have a massive hiring program, and we hire a lot of early talent and intern every year. Not just about hiring, we also have engagement activities to keep them engaged and in touch with the institutes and different colleges. So the team is actually, and there were a lot of programs this year wherein we did a lot of technical sessions with the professors and institutes this year. So there's a lot which goes into the plate.
Thank you, Charu.
Just to add to that, probably.
Sure, Mani.
Sorry, maybe from an early talent hiring standpoint, right? There are, mainly like Charu mentioned, right? There's an utmost focus on the early talent hiring or campus hiring, what we tell, right, internally. We hire through various, we hire through directly from campuses, from any specific campuses as well. We have a robust program for the internship, what Charu has explained. We have a robust program for SAP Scholar, vocational training, what we call it internally, right? And then in addition to that, we do the off-campus interviews. So there are 4 different ways using that we hire that early talent. The numbers what Charu was mentioning, right? Using all the 4 kind of, we run various kind of engagement, various kind of live projects, or maybe a coding challenge or anything as such, or a hackathon or anything as such. There are various engagement which we are driving with certain colleges and other things.
Right. Thank you, Mani, for adding on to that. I have another question on the chat. There's someone who says, when I went through few opportunities in SAP portal, I saw there was a requirement for Python as well as ABAP. So these are basically 2 programming languages that might have been listed as part of the job description. Question goes on to ask, can you please explain the role of Python data science in SAP? So where do we place Python and our focus on data science within SAP?
Okay, maybe I can start, Charu, you can add probably. I would say that yes, again, to answer where are we, if you ask me, are we hiring data scientists with somebody who has Python experience? Yes. To answer it very straightforward, yes, we are. Again, you can see in our careers portal, we have some of the machine learning or deep learning developer roles or data scientist roles, where we are looking at somebody who has a little bit of Python experience as well. I will not be able to comment code from a technical standpoint and other things, but different aspects of it. But yeah, there are relevant roles around Python and data scientist.
Thank you, Mani. There is another question on the chat which goes, so this is more on the lines with our certifications and the answer on certifications, right? There's somebody who asked, does open SAP courses also add value to our CV?
Yes, I think they do add value, but not all courses may be relevant. So a person should definitely look at what are the courses that would be relevant in the current stream and the role that the person would want to do, the career path that the person would choose, and then opt it prudently.
Yes. Thank you, Charu. I'll move back to another question that has come up on the chat. Now, with all the applications that come through to us, and this is a difficult question. As recruiters, we always try to respond to as many candidates, screen as many CVs, and we try to ensure that the communication goes through. That's our best endeavor at SAP. There's a question for somebody, why candidates are not getting proper response for interview process, either positive or negative from HR. So, it's a constant crib from candidates in the external market. Maybe not with SAP, it's something common with most organizations. However, would you want to take it up, Mani or Charu?
Yeah, sure, Shivan, I can answer that. So, rightly, like you said, that there are a lot of applications which a recruiter receives on a daily basis, and the focus here is to respond to the candidate, whether it is a positive or negative. But at times it may happen that the delay could be there because of the sheer number of applications that we receive. But the intent from our end is that we communicate to the candidates accordingly. So it could be it's just being delayed, but yes, the focus is that we respond, whether a negative response or a positive response. And even if you get a negative response, that's not the end of the world. Definitely, possibly,
exactly.
You can improve upon and look at the opportunities which may come along the way.
Right. Just to add to that, so our systems and tools internally are aligned that way that we are trying to send out at least email communications notification through our system too. Through each stage of interviewing, wherever your CV is in the process, you definitely get some sort of communications. Maybe if it is not directly from the recruiter, but it definitely does go out from the system. Mani, any observations you would like to add here?
Sure, Shivan. Yeah. I mean, to add to what Charu mentioned, right? For us, every application which comes into SAP is extremely important, right?
Right. Yeah.
Now, what we try to check is obviously around how relevant it is for the role where you have applied. Now, as a strong employer brand, we get enormous applicants, but we try to prioritize which are suitable for our open roles, and we take this ahead and we communicate with those candidates and give them the feedback and other things. But like some time back, we had highlighted this, the amount of focus around experience, the amount of focus around applications, it is utmost important for us as well, for us to communicate. And we take it, that is extremely important for us also to communicate back to the candidates. So we do that.
And I think as Mani, you also spoke about best tech interviews, right? We are kind of aligning our hiring process to have not more than 4 interviews right now. And I think it will definitely go a long way in shortening that duration wherein we are interviewing as well as communicating the feedback to the candidates. I guess it will go a very long way. All right. There's plenty of questions on the chat. I'll move back to another one that has come up. This is again related to one of our themes that we have already talked about, how to present a CV for job interview and why is so much of expectations in minimum experience. Okay, so maybe I need to rephrase this. Probably the person wants to ask how to include all the information with that minimum of experience within that CV.
Okay, again, maybe I can start, Charu, you can add. So, like for example, I'll just give you an example. If somebody has 2 years of experience, right? Our expectation from a JD, whether it is a Java developer or anything as such, every requirement is very different to very specific need of that line of business or that particular project or anything as such, right? Some of them might be along with Java they are looking at 2 or 3 different other technologies, or some of them are fine with pure only Java developer, right? So yeah, I mean, as combination, I would say that it would be very tough to find out. It is purely divided. I mean, it depends on the role, which one you're applying, what is the skill set required for that business, and we filter out resumes. We look at the resumes based on that, and then we take it ahead to the hiring manager, and then initiate the hiring process and the entire assessment and other things, right? That's also, it's very important for us. What is the relevant experience you have? What is the relevant experience you have for the project, what we are hiring right now? Yeah.
And maybe sometimes it also happens with freshers and graduate that they do not have so much of information to put on their CV. And then you're applying for roles that maybe require some amount of experience, maybe 0 to 3 years up to. In that case, my advice to you would be, highlight your important projects. As part of your graduation, you would have definitely done some projects. You would have done some internships, highlight that. Include any other interest areas that you would have explored during your graduation or maybe after that. So it does not really matter how much of info you can put. It is about the quality of the info, as we have already covered.
Yeah, good
Very
point, Shivan.
I mean, yeah.
Sorry, Joe. I mean, just one point to add to that, right? For a fresher, I would say that yes, if you're applying for an ABAP role, for example, or maybe UI5 or UI developer, I mean, highlight again if you've done an ABAP certification or UI5 certification or anything as such. And highlight the relevant projects required, right? And that adds value. Yeah. Sorry, Charu.
Charu, you wanted to add?
To that, I mean, there could be a minimum experience required for that particular role. Doesn't mean that all the roles are having that kind of an experience. So I think the good idea here would be to scan through the roles which are being published on the job site and look at the one that really fits best. There could be some off-campus roles wherein we do not or have minimum experience requirement very less. So possibly, yes, it really depends upon the role.
Exactly, yeah. There's a couple of other questions that came through. There was somebody who was asking for if they can apply for jobs in Germany and if they will be hired for those. And then there is another on similar lines, but from VT point of view, VT program point of view, if SAP offers it in other countries too.
Yeah, maybe I can start. I mean, vocational training is a global program, the scholar program, what I was highlighting for our early talent hiring, right? I mean, yeah, we hire early talent through, this is one of the mode as well, right? Yes, this is a global program. This is there in 10 different countries. And yeah, so I would recommend any students across different countries, you can apply for that. In India, we have it in India as well. So yeah, we have a robust program around the vocational training program. On the previous question, probably Shiven, what you have asked around, can Indian students apply for Germany roles? I would only comment that probably as long as we have the mobility budget and other things, relocation guidelines and other things, if you, yeah, it is around those lines, right? But if to answer it pretty straightforward, again, we are fine. We are open to look at applications who can apply for those roles, but there are different restrictions around those, right? There are local norms, there are local budget guidelines and other things, right? It is around that, yeah. So yeah, if we have those approvals, we can go ahead, yeah.
All right, great. I think we answered a lot of questions that have come up in chat now. I'll probably move back to a question that we had, from one of our candidates earlier. Now, this is on an entirely different track. I pose this question to both of you, Mani and Charu. One of you can pick up and then add. How does a day in recruiter's life look like?
Good. Shirin, maybe I can start again. So I would call that a recruiter's life, a TA, a talent, whoever is part of the talent acquisition team. We are almost doing a customer-facing role, right? We are spending almost the entire day interacting with our business leaders, technical panels, hiring managers, candidates, right? And attending various meetings with them, discussing about various hiring strategies, or making a hiring plan for different projects or anything as such, right? In addition to that, we also spend a good amount of time talking to candidates, understanding their career aspirations, what are the career developments, what are the career conversations, dialogues, or if you can recommend them how they can navigate through their career and other things, right? Plus, in today's world, most of the recruiters are also working on various projects, initiatives, which can have a deep impact on employees or candidates, which can impact the entire experience part of it, right? Like in SAP, we are giving an utmost importance in terms of the entire hiring manager experience and candidate experience. So we are trying to see that how do we optimize that through various initiatives, how we can improve that gradually, right? So yeah, most of the recruiters are working around various projects and initiatives around that as well.
Charu, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, to add, it's an interesting job. It's now having spent almost close to 16, 17 years in recruiting, I feel I'm married to the recruiting job now. So while it may sound a back-end job to others, but then it's a highly customer-facing role for any recruiter, and it's a high-pressure job. So not just a person does a normal recruiting in a day-to-day life, but then apart from that, doing a market intelligence, a person needs to keep abreast with what is happening in the market, recruiting trends, best practices. How are we looking at improving the candidate and hiring manager experience, like Mani covered earlier? Then how can we actually look at inculcating or imbibing the best practices, not just in terms of hiring, but then how do we hire or how do we offer the best candidate? How do we retain that talent? All forms a part of the recruiter's everyday, everyday life. There are a lot of projects which at SAP a recruiter works, and we something call it as a recruiter experience, which is very, very unique to SAP. So every recruiter is also judged on how has been the experience with the candidate, with the hiring manager and different teams. So it's a fun-filled job, it's a high-pressure job, and it's a rewarding job, I would say.
Thank you, Charu. It indeed is rewarding, and thank you, Mani, also for your additions to that. With virtual setting, it is definitely a lot of meetings that we hop on and off during the day. So yeah, it's a high pressure job. All right, I'll move back to another question that has come up on the chat. Now, this is with respect to people who have had some sort of career break in their journey, right? This could be related to anything, maybe due to maternity or paternity, or maybe some these days what we are also noticing is that people are getting laid off from their jobs. So with that in mind, right, do we hire such people, and what would be your advice to some of these folks who might be taking a break or are pursuing another job?
Yes, Shrivin, I can answer that, and maybe Mani can add. We do hire people with career breaks as well, so that's not a problem. But yes, we do look at the relevance of the person's skills and knowledge with the current open roles. That is something important. But there's no restriction that we will not hire a person with a career break. Depending upon the suitable opportunities available, right, we can answer that. Even if a person has lost a job, I don't think that is something to be ashamed of in current circumstances. So if a person clearly mentions that and has reasons to explain, I think that works well. But this is something not to be ashamed of or be depressed about. Mani, would you want to add to that?
Sure, Charu. Yeah, I mean, I would say that Charu, we have covered. I would say honesty is the key here, right? There's nothing to be ashamed. Whether you have a gap, whether you have an employment gap for various reasons, or you are unemployed due to the current scenarios and other things, right? Be very candid about it. Be whenever you're talking to your recruiters or panels or hiring manager, tell them, explain the entire scenario, what happened and other things, and highlight exactly the durations and other things, right? Even though if you face some bit of rejections, I would say that think about various possibilities, how you can upskill yourself, how you can improve on, how you can create different learning opportunities. What's happening in maybe 2 months or 6 months of gap? What are the new trends which has come up in the domain or skills what you have an expertise on, right? I would say attend the relevant webinars in LinkedIn or various social media platforms, what you can see right now. Gain some bit of knowledge, what's happening there. Go and join some alumni groups. Go and start following some of the organizations whom you are very passionate about. You want to get in there, find out what's happening there, what kind of roles they're hiring, what kind of projects are coming up. This would ensure gradually that you are very relevant to the industry. You know what's happening in the industry right now, and you will be finding suitable roles, and you will get successful very soon. Yeah. So as long as you have the relevant experience and other things, and you are being watchful, you are upskilling yourself, I'm sure you'll be successful. Yeah.
Thank you, Mani and Charu, for adding your observations on that. It is indeed a tough time, but in keeping trying is where you succeed. All right, I'll move to another question on the chat. So I'll probably try to rephrase it. The question goes exactly as after getting recruited in SAP and before joining as a fresher, what skills should someone learn? If I know Java beforehand, should I learn ABAP? For example, somebody who already knows Java, should they also learn ABAP? Or probably somebody who knows ABAP, should they also learn Java? So this is more like a question, Java versus ABAP. Many candidates have that in mind, that SAP as a technology stack, ABAP is more prevalent. So can we kind of clarify this Java versus ABAP debate within SAP?
Sure, Shivan, maybe I can start. So anybody, irrespective of whether somebody is a campus graduate or somebody has 2 years, 3 years of experience and anything as such, right? I would say that both the technologies goes hand in hand, right? So if you are a fresher and you have a little bit of Java experience and other things, you will get trained on ABAP, because yes, most of the platform we use on ABAP, right? So you will have a robust training given to you on ABAP, and you will work on both in Java and ABAP. I would say most of the platform, most of the teams, what we have internally within SAP works on both Java and ABAP, and you will get adequate training on both the skills for you to be successful and for you to be ramped up into those skills.
Sure, Mani, and I would just add to that, though ABAP is a SAP technology, as Mani also elaborated, there are teams and platforms that were on ABAP and would be migrated to Java. So this is where your skills in both ABAP and Java also come into picture. A lot of times we also look for candidates who have expertise on both, not just ABAP or not just Java. So, it's good to be abreast with both these technologies from SAP's point of view and from your overall career growth point of view. All right. Okay, I'm not sure if we really know the answer to this question, but I'll still take it up. Maybe give it a shot, Mani or Charu. It's entirely on a different track this time. When is the plan for starting new campus coming up at Devanhalli Aerospace Park? Will it be SAP Labs or SAP India?
I mean, yeah.
So there is somebody who's probably tired of traveling.
I mean, we may not have the right answer, honestly. As of now, we don't have any inputs, but yeah, I mean, we don't have any clear indication, because with the current mode of hiring right now, with the current situation, lockdown, other things, a lot of things are changing right now, right? So yeah, I don't have exact input on that, honestly.
Yeah, just adding to that, that is the priority is actually currently the safety of and well-being of employees, and the organization is actually targeting on that. So the current focus is on maintaining the status quo, and it's a work from home for due to COVID situation. So.
All right, great. With that, I noticed that we are around at our mark. Now, just to summarize, today we took time to answer your queries, starting from if SAP is recruiting, how to build your CV, how to prepare for video interviews, what does SAP look for in a candidate, our D&I programs and strategy, our early talent programs and strategy, and many other things. I speak on behalf of both our panels that we thoroughly enjoyed answering your queries and hopefully were able to add value to your time. A big thanks to all of you, including Mani and Charu. Stay safe, and thank God it's Friday. Enjoy your weekend. With that, we sign off.
Thank you, Shivain, for being the wonderful host. Thank you.
Thank you, Shivain. Thank you, everyone. Thanks. Bye-bye.